Welcome back to Rituals and Conversation, the show where we explore the intentional practices that shape meaningful living. I'm thrilled to welcome today Anna, co founder of Anton, a rising well-being studio in Zurich's Opfikon that invites people to breathe, move, enjoy, and truly connect with themselves and others. At Anton, you'll find everything from reformer Pilates, yoga, meditation, breathwork, dance, community created events, all designed as antidotes for stress, isolation, and routine. We'll unpack Anna's vision for building a space that bridges movement, mindfulness, and belonging, and the rituals behind creating connection in a modern world. Anna, welcome. So glad to have you here.
Wow, Minal, that was such a nice introduction. I think it's the first time somebody actually summarized our studio, and it wasn't me. So it's really nice to hear it like from the outside.
Let's begin with what inspired you to create this beautiful space and how did your personal path shape the vision of this wellness studio and what does it stand for?
I think it will be the easiest to start with explanation of the name, that is Antin. And it's actually very simple. It's Anna and Tino written above each other. And those are the name of me and my partner, a life partner and business partner at the same time. And when we met, the first thing we started talking about was mindfulness, meditation, all the well-being practices. And we connected through the well-being like instantly, and then it was a quick match. And from there, we were just dreamers for some time, traveling together and going to different workshops, different practices. We were traveling for 1 year, so we were in Bali, we were in Poland, we were in many different places, and we were always looking for practices that would elevate our well-being, it would elevate our state, and we could just evolve more. And then we realized, okay, it's not so common here in Switzerland. So how about we start doing here in Switzerland and just bring those practices that we found somewhere else in the world all together in here? And also when we were discussing, we always said that it's not about just doing sports, or it's not about only meditation. For us, we discovered quite quickly that on his personal path and on my personal path, what helped us was the holistic approach to the well-being and to the state of your everyday. Because I had a few years, a moment that was really rough, mentally, physically. I was really ill and I could not get out of that loop. Nothing was working. It wasn't working going to the doctors and taking bunch of medicines. Always something was missing. And then I was like dancing and it was helping a little bit, but then was again something missing. And then I was taking the medicines. I was dancing regularly. I found a mindfulness course where I was attending for 8 weeks. And all of that came together even better when I started sharing those experiences and I started going for some events to find new friends and new community. And then it clicked. Finally started progressing and feeling better. And nowadays, like on everyday life, I don't even remember that I was so ill. Like it's like really in the past. So I was like, okay, if we create this studio, we create it based on our experiences that we would like to do something for the body, that is the sport, because yes, we do just need, the brain is based on chemicals, right? So we just need to bring those endorphins up with some movement, but we also want to calm the mind. That's why we want to do the breath works and meditations in here, because it's really important not only to push and go and do just more sport. It's also important to stop and just take a minute and go into yourself. However, if you do it all alone and you don't share the experiences and you don't have the community that motivates you, holds you accountable, and drives you into this, I think it makes no sense. So for us, it's only making sense if you combine mind, body, and soul. That's why we also try to, on the weekend, to bring lots of centered rather than just on the movement. So it really brings all of those aspects together.
Quite a journey, like using what how you healed from something that you were struggling with into a physical space that is bringing all of this wellness to someone else. That's a great.
That's even why we even have the three different rooms. As one room is dedicated for the body, for the practices of Pilates. Another room is more, in my opinion, dedicated to the mind, as we want to do their sound baths, sound healings, and this whole quietness. And then we have the welcome area, the chill area, which is for building the community. So even in the physical space, we represent what we stand for, that it is about combining all of the aspects. And that's why we call ourselves a well-being studio, of just, we want that the experience you have in here, it's wholesome, because yes, this is what works for us in everyday life, that it all has to work together.
Speaking of everyday life, is there something almost invisible, like a ritual you do, something others might overlook that make a surprisingly strong difference in your mental and
I think just holding a pen makes its own magic. And if it's about journaling in the morning, if it's about making to-do lists, if it's about leaving a special note to Tino or to someone else, I really think that in nowadays world where we use so much of phones and computers and everything is digital, we do forget of how nice it feels to write. And there is really special connection between like holding the pen and bringing your thoughts through it rather than just texting and typing. So I do highly recommend doing everything that involves writing. For me, it's, for example, a stream of consciousness, which is just writing whatever comes to you in very first thing in the morning after some meditation. It is writing physical to-do lists and just cross it off, just cross off that task that you have done. It just gives you so much satisfaction. And sometimes when I have a problem that I need to solve, it's also, I just ask myself questions in the notebook and write the answers to them. So I think it's a very simple trick, but for me, working miracles.
I mean, I can just see it. It's such a different take on journaling, where we just write about gratitude, which is also very important.
Yes.
But what you're doing is you're sort of talking to yourself through that writing.
Yes, the stream of consciousness might feel weird at the beginning, but then just write, I really don't know what I'm doing here. Anna told me it's gonna work, so let's see. And you will see that the moment you put that dot, you will start continuing and you will be surprised of what comes out of you onto that paper.
Beautiful. So, as a founder, I know your days are full. How do you create micro rituals besides the one that you just shared between work moments to stay grounded rather than running on pure adrenaline?
So, as I mentioned someone before, I was attending an 8 weeks mindfulness course where we would sit and meditate for hours. Okay. And there was like lots of homework on making lots of rituals and things. However, with time, I started losing those things. But no matter how busy I am and how crazy it is to suddenly become a business owner, I do remember about the basic practice of mindfulness, which is a 5 minute pause. And it's really like whenever I become overwhelmed with my tasks and everything starts to be very intense and very quick, I just take 5 minutes to breathe. I just sit down, switch off everything, feeling into my body. I actually listen to the noise. It's like I don't try to now suddenly meditate and suddenly be silence and in peace. Because I know it's impossible for me in this very moment because it's too much, right? So rather than running away from it, I just give it a space, sit down, close my eyes, listen to the whole noise that is there. Then I go into my body. I feel of what do I feel in which part? Is it the stress in the chest or is it something in my gut or is it the tension in the shoulders? Like where is it? What is it? And then I just breathe into it. I just sit down. I realize all of the thoughts, acknowledge them that they're coming, then feel into the body of where is any discomfort, any pain, and then I just try to be with it. And it all takes 5 minutes. It's like 2 minutes checking on the head, 2 minutes checking on the body, and then 1 minute of just embracing it all in stillness. And I kid you not, I can do it in a bath. Sometimes I stop the car. Sometimes like I do it like between the meetings. It is working very well in any environment. And I know everyone says like, oh, it's something that anyone can do, but it's really something that anyone can do. And I think it helps me sometimes survive.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because it's bringing you in the present moment. Because whenever we are stressing, we're either thinking of something in the past or in the future. So, what you're suggesting is just bringing yourself, punishing yourself, or overthinking it, focusing on your breath and, just being in that.
And for me, it's very empowering, but at the same time freeing myself. Because before, always like when I would go like into little panic state modes, people would just say, "Oh, just calm down, just stop overthinking." And those things don't work, right? Like they just push more. And here, I allow myself to panic. I allow myself for all those thoughts to
Love that.
flood in. It's just like I give them the space that they usually suppress, like that pain in the belly, like that you're trying to like dismiss and say, oh, it's not there, I will just continue doing things. No, no. I allow myself to feel maybe not comfortable, maybe a little bit bad, and just embrace it and then continue rather than stopping it and pretending everything is great and fine and I will just stop worrying now. No, I let myself worry fully.
That is so, so important. Like I tell my boys, all feelings are welcome.
Hmm.
That's exactly that. When you give yourself permission to feel all those emotions, all those words so resonate with me, giving them space to be there. So there is no need for distracting and suppressing ourselves, just feeling them because we, after all, have to feel everything in order to be a human being.
Yes, and
So,
experience it all.
yes, absolutely. So, are there any rituals? I mean, you've spoken about all your travel. Have you borrowed any traditions, teachers, or life chapters that you've adapted to your own unique daily rhythm? I know you shared a lot, which is really powerful. But what you didn't tell us, which I know because I've spoken to you personally, is that how you and your partner built the studio with your own hands, constructed it. So I know what you shared is great for us on a daily basis, but building something uh, with your own hands and constructing a well-being studio is not easy. So what was your rhythm during that time? Because that can really help us as well.
Yes, it was challenging, especially that I must admit I was not working physically before in my life more than waitering at the restaurants. So it was really like Tino expertise to tell me what to do and how to build and everything. And I must admit he did most of the job, okay? Like I was just helping out a little bit as much as I could, as I'm like kind of a small person, so I don't have too much of power to lifting things or even reaching up. However, for us in this like crazy time of trying to build the studio on the weekends, because like Tino has a different company, none of like he could not be dedicated 100% in here, so we were doing it only on the weekends or in the evenings, and it was very intense because then we would like sit in here 16 hours on a weekend just to finish the floor, to finish painting walls. And something that I do take from my travels and helps during that time and is a thing for me on everyday life is food, is sharing the food with someone, taking the break for that food and eat it mindfully. And I was raised in a house where it was not that important. I was just, like food was just a fuel to do. It was not treated as a ritual. It was just a fuel. Okay, you have to eat. You're hungry. That's it. And then I was traveling as a kid with my dad a lot. And also like searching for restaurants would be like more of a process or more of a mission to find the food. And so as a kid, I didn't get this like ritual of eating. However, then I was studying in Spain or I was living in Mexico. And I must say, those cultures showed me on how important it is to actually pause for the food, wait for someone else. Even if you're hungry for 1 hour, you do wait for that family member or that friend to share it, the experience and to be really grateful for food. And I think that was our only moments to stop. Like those
Mhm.
were our only moments when we would sit down, eat something, and we would talk. Then, like automatically, we would switch to talking private. We would leave the business on the side, and we were only talking about private life. So I
Mm.
think this is the ritual of eating mindful and sharing the food with others is something that, yes, I discovered while traveling on how important it is and how the food also tastes so much different if you just put energy and love to it. It's like the same Caesar salad that you make at home and the same ingredients that you buy in a supermarket and is eaten from the plastic. It's never gonna taste the same because it's about the energy you put into it. So I would say that, yeah, it's something that also everyone can do because we all eat every day. And it's like maybe stop treating it as a pit stop in your marathon between tasks and just like treat it as a moment that you appreciate and you may share it with others, even if it's sometimes calling someone on the phone and say like, hey, like, do you have a minute? Let's like eat and talk, right?
That is so, so nice. Yeah, food is such an important aspect in my culture, so I totally, totally resonate with that. With my kids, we cook together on the weekends, or
That
even if it is, yeah, so all our meals, because I have set up my work in such a way that I work from home so that I can be with them. So our morning, afternoon, and dinner is we will sit on the table, we chant some mantras together before we eat the food. So, like what you spoke about, the energy part of it. And then we will eat together. That's very, very important for me that it is not eaten in front of the TV, on the sofa, but on the dining table. We sit together as a family. And what you mentioned earlier, even if it is eating 1 hour later, I'm very clear that we're going to eat it together as a family. So that resonates deeply. And you're right, that is such a mindful activity.
But that is so beautiful that you already teach your kids right now and that you even involve them into the cooking process so they will pick it up from home and just share these rituals with others in future as adults, right?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
So if there's one ritual that you would, if you feel like you want to gift this, something simple, accessible, and sustainable to someone who walks into Anton, what would it be and why?
I would say practice movement. Just practice movement. And by movement, I don't mean sport. You don't have to do sports. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to beat records and have workouts of 1 hour. Just practice movement in your everyday life. Swing your hips while you're brushing your teeth. Dance a little if you're like looking for that lost sock in the washing machine. Just bring movement into your life seamlessly. And then, of course, if you have the capacity to extend it to a reformer workout or a dance class, do it. But just try to move every day as much as possible, even if it's by taking walks or going for the Saturday party. But go on that dance floor and don't just stay at the bar.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Anna. Those were really pearls of wisdom that you shared with us. So simple that anyone can easily incorporate. And I would highly recommend people to go, especially if you live in Zurich, to go to her well-being studio. It's a beautiful place. The energy is just so full of love. You can feel the love when you enter. The reformer beds are really high tech. They're very individualized, and I'll just leave it at that because I'll leave you to go and try it out. And she has some really, really fun events that happen over the weekend. So do check it out. I will post all the links in the podcast.
Thank you so much, Mina. Like it was amazing to sit with you here and just share some of that wisdom that is yeah, I'm not an expert on anything, I'm just another human as we all are trying to figure out everyday life.
Yeah. And that's why it's rituals and conversations.
That is such a good idea. Thank you so much.